here is Trump helping lay out some wreaths at the Arlington National Cemetery.
On the third anniversary of the suicide bombing in Afghanistan that killed 13 U.S. service members, what kind of an issue is Trump using this on?
Well, look, this is a low-key way for Trump to highlight something that he considers to be one of the biggest failures of the Biden administration, and something politically he hopes he can tie Kamala Harris to: the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan 3 years ago. Trump often highlights the death of those 13 service members at the bombing at Abbey Gate. He's done so again in a Truth Social post overnight. Obviously, this is a respectful appearance here at Arlington National Cemetery, but Trump views the Afghanistan withdrawal as a major foreign policy weakness for both President Biden and Vice.
Yeah, so let me explain this, because there's been a lot of issues going on our friend here Twitter. I said that this was a perfect photo op opportunity, right? A lot of people misconstrue that. They're like, well, Doghouse, the Gold Star families invited him. You're right. About 2 of the 13 family members invited him. If you want to say the Gold Star families invited him, cool, great. I'm not saying that he wasn't invited. I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing that Trump showed up to lay down the wreath, but you would be a fool to sit there and look me in the eyes and say that this isn't a photo op. Okay? This is right up there with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez going down to the border, crying her eyes out at the fence. Okay? When you are a politician, you take every opportunity that puts you in a positive light. Again, don't assign a negative connotation where there needs to be none. When I am saying that this is a photo op, I am saying this is absolutely a photo op. Now, does Trump have bad intentions? I'm not entirely sure, but we know his track record. We can look at Trump's track record and we could say that if we look at how he handled John McCain and calling him a loser, we can look at the Khan family, the Gold Star family that was relentlessly insulted. We can look at those 2 incidents and say, look, Trump has an affinity when those Gold Star families do not align with his message to tend to go after them. Now, do I think this was him being genuine? I don't know. And I don't have enough to really conclusively say one way or the other. But we do have a lengthy track record on this. And a lot of people were saying, where's Kamala? Where's Kamala? Where's Kamala? Guys, first of all, do you really think that putting Kamala and Trump at the same event is going to be productive? If your idea of this event is to focus on the families, why would you want both of the presidential candidates in the same spot at the same time? We saw what happened when Kamala was in the same airport as J.D. Vance. And what did J.D. Vance do? He wanted that opportunity. He went down to that airplane and tried to answer in front of the press and make a big spiel out of it. So guys, it's the same thing here. Why would you want Kamala to show up to this event when all it's going to do is take away from those families? Now, you may be wondering, well, what does Kamala feel about this? Why wasn't she there? Well, guys, it's very plain and simple. She at the very least put out a statement. And here's what some of this statement says. It's just the important pieces, okay? Today and every day I mourn and honor them. My prayers are with their families and loved ones. My heart breaks for their pain and their loss. These 13 devoted patriots represent the best of America, putting our beloved nation and their fellow Americans above themselves and deploying into danger to keep their fellow citizens safe. Today, I am also thinking about all our service members who served in America's longest war, including 2,461 who made the ultimate sacrifice and 20,744 who were wounded. Over the course of nearly 2 decades, they served selflessly and bravely to protect the American people and our homeland. I will never forget meeting many of them on a trip to Afghanistan as a U.S. Senator. These American service members possessed extraordinary skill, discipline, and dedication. I had then and will always have immense pride in their service and in the strength, courage, and excellence of the U.S. military, the greatest fighting force the world has ever known. Now, why does that sound familiar? Because In her own speech at the DNC, this was the same kind of words that she had used. Okay. Again, now you might say, well, where was Biden? That's a great question. Well, how about this? Let's go ahead and look into what Biden did. Okay. Mind you, I want to keep people's memory here clear. There was 3 years since this has happened. Okay. This is akin to saying, why is Bush not at a 9/11 memorial? That is how this is akin to. You want Bush to be there every now. Granted, I think Bush would more than welcome be, but how long is he supposed to do that? Now, I want to show you what Biden did on the initial event that this happened. Here's a story. Biden pays respects to U.S. troops killed in Afghanistan. It goes on to mention how basically when they came down in their draped coffins, he was right there to greet them. This is very common with presidents, and it is very common with what Biden did then. So again, guys, when we talk about these events, please research, please look into these things. It's very, 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 very simple. Okay. Every single question you may have is on a search website called Google, called DuckDuckGo. Okay. Just simply research these things. So again, do I think that Trump was going for a photo op? I think there was an element there. Can I conclusively say whether or not he had good or bad intentions? No, I cannot. But as far as this event goes, there was one comment that stuck out to me. And the simple fact is that we had 13 service members who lost their lives. And today, that is what matters. It doesn't matter about Kamala. It does not matter about Biden, and it doesn't matter about Trump. It matters about those 13 service members who gave their lives for this country. And that is true. That much is absolutely true. So today, if you want to honor those 13 service members, if that's what you want to do, put aside politics and mention their names. But let me tell you, I have seen people in the comments sit there and say that these service members should be honored, only followed by an advertisement from the Trump campaign only recognizing about 3 or 4 family members. Okay? So again, today is about them, not about the politics. Media literacy would be really cool. Right. Exactly, Wes. Imagine someone doing research, kind of like people who read TOS. Rare. Very rare. Exactly, Miss April. And again, it's even more rare. And I don't blame certain people for who look at my comment of saying this is a photo op and taking it from a negative connotation, because a lot of people who may mention that it's a negative connotation, right? If all Trump is doing is for a photo op, sure. Then in that instance, it could be negative, because it's not the word, the photo op, that makes it bad. It's the fact that the intentions were misguided. Okay. So, and that's something I really want to hit on here, is a lot of people keep mentioning this. They're like, well, the Gold Star families, the Gold Star families, the Gold Star families. And they keep mentioning how the Gold Star families wanted to be there. Guys, it's the same Gold Star families who also appeared on the RNC stage. Okay. To me, we have still 13 service members, but only 4 have appeared. I think it was like 3 or 4 family members appeared on the RNC stage. We had, I think, 2 family members of them who wanted Trump there, which I'm not sure if they were the same people. What I want to know is, what do those other service members' families think? Do they think it was a bad pullout? Do they think that what is going on right now with politicizing this terrible tragedy is a good thing or a bad thing? We have 13 service members, and yet only about, at most, 6 have come forward regarding their loved one and what they feel about it. And my heart goes out to them. My heart goes out to them. I'm not saying that the family members are any less important or that they have any bad intentions. Okay. But there are, at most, or at minimum, we have 7 family members who have been unspoken, who have not said much. And it's very curious. I'd be very curious what those would be. We'll never know how the actual servicemen felt. Yeah, no, exactly. And that's the sad part about it, Wes, isn't it? That while we're going through and politicizing this tragedy, we will never know how the actual service members felt because they're not here today. That's something to remember. When you sit there and you get on Twitter and you talk about it, those service members didn't come home to their families. They came home to their families in a flag-draped coffin.